Okay, so hi Afreen, welcome to Scholars Weekly. I'm Siddhant, this is Prateek, and we are the co-founders of the Maharaja Agrisen chapter of Connecting Dreams Foundation. And when we get started, so let's just begin with the small introduction of you and what you've done till now and what you're doing currently. Yeah.
Got it. So, if I have to just briefly speak about myself, I started after completing my education in undergrad. I started with my journey in the impact space. I was a Gandhi Fellow for 2 years, which is primarily in primary education, and post which I continued in the impact space, which was under Piramal Foundation, where we were building capacities of the government school teachers, and post which continuing in the education space because I was quite inclined to exploring education and how we can solve primary education. I was a part of People India, which is also a non-profit organization that works for improving education in Delhi government schools. um, that is where I started with being a talent acquisition specialist, where I transitioned my role from being a uh, teacher capacity building professional to a recruiter.
Perfect.
And post which, when I felt that education being one of the issues in the impact space, there are multiple other issues that are also very pressing issues, and that is when I was a part of an incubation foundation, which is the Convergence Foundation, primarily incubating 15 plus organizations that cater to larger problems in the community as a whole, in different parts of the country. But and Currently I'm a part of Morgan Stanley, which is financial services space, continuing as a recruiter, which is my role that has been for the past 4 to 5 years now. And yes, that is a bit about me. I enjoy being a recruiter, and it happened by accident, but I really, really enjoy being a talent acquisition person, and I wish to continue in the space how much ever I can help
Right.
others as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this lovely intro. And yeah, I think I connected with you like back in 2024 in the November, I think, like when I was applying here. Right. So
Yeah.
this was like then I connected, right? So yeah, so the mode of this like podcast is to just like have a smaller coffee chat session with a industry a professional in this space only, that we can gather as much as information that we can and make it accessible for students like us. So first question I would like to ask from like a student who's like in his undergrad and would join the workforce in like the coming first 2 years, right? So, okay, if someone like me wants to break into the space of social impact consulting, like as an entry level analyst only, right? So, what would like a organization look for that particular candidate? Would be like academic pedigree, or would it be something like complete like a uh, I would say like a restricted experience in that space. Like if like you have worked in this space of the Gandhi Fellowship, that would
Hmm.
be like ideal, right? So yeah,
Um, if you Do you want me to talk about how impact space would look like, or generally any organization would look like?
any organization would be like
Okay. So I would say, so beginning with, on paper, yes, your academic qualification and degree does matter, but also a lot of it matters on you because you are an undergrad. There is no experience that is on paper, right? So one is
right,
that how much clarity are you coming with?
right,
Why are you coming to this organization? Do you have some idea about it? You don't need to be like crystal clear, but at least have some knowledge about why your interest is in this organization per se. What is this organization trying to do? And second is, how will you contribute to your role? I think
right,
one is this aspect of clarity. Why are you coming to me in this to me, like to this organization, will be very, very attractive as a reasoning to me, that okay, why, if you have thought through it, then of course, like, you know what, you've done your research and come. And on the
right,
second bit is, your personality traits.
Right.
When I say personality, it is about communication. It is about, if you are given a problem, how do you solve that problem? How much are you a critical thinker? So communication, critical thinking, clarity of thought, and aligning to how you think about your future, like any aspirations about your 2 year down the line, that I want to do this. I think education is a pressing problem and I want to contribute because I this in the past, or I've read this
Right.
about something.
Right.
You are backing your reasoning with something, is will lead to, I think, a more holistic personality. So
Makes sense.
yeah, this is what is looked upon.
Perfect. Perfect. Siddhant, yeah,
Okay.
you can just switch to your
Yeah,
question on
okay.
this.
So I
Yeah.
I had this question because we, like, earlier when we were doing another episode of this podcast, we talked to somebody who
Hmm.
has worked in Satwa as a social impact consultant, and they also mentioned the Gandhi Fellowship. So I wanted to ask, like, if I, let's just say I'm a student in like college, and I want to go into this space, should, like, how helpful would it be for me to go into a fellowship first? Because I think we get like a more on ground experience with the fellowship. It's how important do you think that on ground experiences, or could I just like go directly into the, like, for applying for the positions rather than going to the fellowship? What would you like put up above one of them?
I think my inclination is towards understanding the ground first and then going to a more back end side, right? Because
Right.
if you are on the front end, you know what's happening, and then you are able to strategize more. Because I was there, like, because मैं वहाँ था, I know what had happened, right? What are the challenges? For example, in Gandhi Fellowship, we are completely shadowing teachers and government officials. Ki, what are they doing in the day? How does they look like? What are their challenges? What is actually the child in the classroom struggling with, right?
Right.
And it does not happen. Um, it does not happen to you like by accident. You will
Right.
come across an incident. Like, for in my third year of college, I was interning with Teach for India, and there I
Right.
saw what's happening in the classroom. There is like a so many, like, two classrooms combined in one classroom, and somebody's teaching, and how fellow is able to bring that uh, teaching in the classroom based on her educational background, right? She was she's an international student, and the government school children were able to pick up that accent, right? And I mean, that was
Right.
magical to see how a fellow can bring that change in the classroom. And that was
Right.
very, very my anchor for me, that this is something, that education is magical if you do it the right way. Like, how many,
Right.
it's impacting such a large chunk of children and their future and their backgrounds, right?
Right.
Imagine you going with a lesson plan, it will be much more different, right?
Makes sense.
So
Yeah.
that happened, and then I was inclined, okay, now I want to solve education, I want to, like, contribute my one bit, how much ever I can. And then I have an anchor, right? Kyunki, matlab, I have seen this, I want to see what's actually happening in the ground, and then go ground
Right.
up, how can we solve these at a systemic level. One it at
Right.
a ground level, and then when you add your inputs at a systemic level, you will come with more value, because
Right.
people know that you've come from the ground and you know what's happening. You've gone around different villages and districts and schools and interactions, and that is how
Right.
you draw your conclusions. So my
Right.
inclination is always towards first ground.
Hi. So the rest of this podcast was recorded on a later date due to the fact that some of the recording on the previous date got corrupted. So we would like to thank Afreen for rejoining for a re-recording, and we would like to apologize to you all because you missed out on some stuff. I mean, not that much, but you did miss out on something. Okay, so thank you to Afreen for rejoining for a re-recording, and let's just all proceed as though nothing ever happened and this disclaimer was never put there.
Okay. Okay. Afreen, like from last time we were speaking, again, I'll start with like the question which I had a lot of curiosity was key.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to work in the space of like social impact consulting and want to break into the like an entry level job of an analyst, how much like an academic pedigree holds in that space? Like, I'm not talking about like the good numbers or grades. I'm talking about like if somebody is coming from a tier one college, respective to someone who's coming from like a tier two college with like fairly good amount of experience? How does someone can do that, and if there is a way to do that? So,
So definitely, I mean, there are entry level opportunities also. Once you start in applying to social impact consulting, is so what you will be assessed on is one, your academic qualification, but that is not entirely what you will be assessed on, but your understanding about the current scenario. For example, even if social impact consulting is very, very vast in terms of the sectors that you want to engage with, one is that I want to continue working in livelihood space.
right,
This is one answer, and second answer could be that I just want to explore the domains and understand what I am really inclined towards. So social impact consulting would give me that exploration of deep diving or touching upon all domains.
right,
So this is what the purpose can be. Or you are doing an internship that is in livelihood or education, or women's economic empowerment, and you are like, okay, this is something that I'm really concerned, or this is really is an anchor for me because I've had personal experiences and I would really want to contribute to this problem. So what they look for you is the sense of anchor and purpose that you want to solve that particular problem,
right,
the amount of clarity that you're coming in, and
right,
this is the domain wise, what is the role that you want to pursue. Do you want to be like a consultant, or do you want to be on ground? So
right,
one is that I want to be on ground and actually understand the challenges, and second is TK, I want to understand the statistics and the general overview of that particular domain, and then accordingly go ahead. So, right, one is domain and the role that you would want to pursue. And the internship on paper, it will be just your CV and internships that you've done. As in the conversation, it will be how well are you about your surrounding and how do you want to continue.
makes sense. And so last time we were talking about, and you said ki I was one of the things that I wanted to like talk about is like your transition from this particular space to a different space of like working in Morgan Stanley, and you did a small stint in HR consulting also. And
Yeah.
how was that transition, and like how difficult was it? And yeah, and
Yeah. One is कि let me know if you want to cover me any pointers in any answer, because मुझे
yeah,
एकदम याद नहीं है कि मैंने क्या बोला है last time. So I'm just whatever, वो भी मेरी understanding के हिसाब से बोला था. I'm also talking as per my understanding and
yeah, yeah,
experience. So one is that in my experience, the transition from impact space to corporate is relatively difficult than
right,
moving from corporate to impact space,
makes sense, right,
because the corporate is not very familiar with the jargons that or the skill set that non-profit has or the impact space has, unless and until you're working with international social impact consulting firm. But if you're working with an on ground organizations, and you're aiming to go into completely well established corporate, it might be slightly difficult.
right,
If you are a generalist, it is very difficult. That is what I feel. But if you're a specialist and you're coming with a particular skill set, it might be relatively okay, easier depending on the opportunities. But
right,
my transition was because I had spent around 6 years in the impact space, and I had explored um, most of the domains. Like
right,
Convergence had given me a wider purview of different domains that I had an exposure to, understanding what is happening in those domains, what are the organizations working. And I thought now it is the time for me to even because down the line I want to build like a holistic profile of myself as a
right,
talent acquisition specialist. So I wanted to explore other domains as well, not just be limited to impact space.
sure, perfect. Siddhant, your question you would like to like transition.
Okay, so I feel like I'm staying on the topic that Pratik asked in the previous question. It's like
Yeah.
if I'm like applying for a job as an entry level analyst, and I've done internships. Like, do those count as like an experience if I've done just internships?
Yes, definitely, it does count very well. So, uh, The formula is that if you are 5 years and less experienced, your internships will have more weightage. And if you have 5 years plus experience, your work experience will matter more.
Right.
So internships do very well matter in an entry level positions that you apply, and you should be able to position them in a way that counts as relevant to your current position that you're applying to. If you've done a marketing internship and you're applying for a marketing role, it will be a plus for you. It will
Right.
be like a bonus कि हाँ मतलब you know what the role looks like, you know what the corporate, how the corporate system is functioning, थोड़ा idea होगा, and then that will act as a plus to have you like shortlisted also.
Okay, this podcast is sponsored by Good Lives. Good Lives connects you with a network of mental health expertise, offering a personalized solution and clinical validation solution right to your phone. Whether you are looking for one-on-one therapy or community support or simple relaxation tool to guide you to meditation sleep aid, Good Life have you covered. Good Life is also trying to do a campus intervention in different college campuses. And if you guys are interested, more than happy to help you guys. And again, thank you so much to Good Life for sponsoring this podcast. And okay, and the other thing I would like to ask is, see, if somebody has done like, again, this question is like in last time also, if someone has worked in two, see, take like two-person who has like a very fairly good experience in the space of social impact, especially in volunteer work, or he has worked with an NGO, and especially like you said in livelihood space, etc. On the other side, there's a candidate who has worked in specifically towards in conglomerates only, like किसी particular conglomerates that maybe Bombay Shaving Company के साथ he has worked in their marketing team. How would like the preference work if that person is applying in this space?
Mm, so which space? Who's up? Like I got two situations, but they are applying to which space?
In social impact consulting only, in like an entry level
Acha.
position, right?
So it will vary from generalist and specialist role also.
Right.
Generalist is operations person, let's say. For example, program management is generalist,
Yeah.
and let's say monitoring and evaluation professional is a specialist, right?
Right.
Specialist will have a higher chance because the technical skill set remains the same.
Right.
Generalist generally would have a lower probability because I don't know what kind of program that person has managed, what is the scale that that person has managed, I'm not really sure.
Right.
So um so if that particular person, A, who's coming from the impact space is applying for a generalist role in the impact space only, will have a higher chance
Right.
rather than a conglomerate. And if a
Makes
specialist is
sense.
applying, if a monitoring and evaluation person is applying from an impact space to a conglomerate, that person will also have a chance because the skill set are crystal clear, right? Uh,
Right.
okay, that person has that particular skill set. What kind of certification he has done, he or she has done, will also play a role.
Right.
So that is what I think.
Perfect. Siddhant, transition to your question, you would like to ask something.
Okay. So like, see, you've worked in a fellowship as well, and we've talked to someone else who's worked in a fellowship as well. Like, if you were to give advice to a student who's like maybe who's graduating out of college, would you suggest them to go for a fellowship like before applying to a firm?
One is that it depends on what kind of fellowship, but I do generally would recommend in case you want to build your career in the impact space. If you're very sure, you should do a 6 month or a year fellowship, not 2 years maybe, but
Yeah.
6 month or a year to get a sense of what is happening on the ground, so that in case you move ahead in your journey in the impact space and you take up senior positions, you go ahead and ahead, you would know actual reality of the ground. Otherwise, once
Right.
you start in the working in the impact space, then there are lower chances that you would go on field. It's a
Right.
very less chance. So in case you fulfill that in the start, you know that what you're working towards. It will also drive you emotionally, logically. You will have your own answers, and you would want to explore. The country also is like a very wide landscape. So what
Right,
is happening where is also very tricky to understand.
right. And like in the fellowship also, I have heard in that space, for example, Teach for India, the fellowship is fairly low. And I've heard from people that it doesn't count like as a work experience. Like how true is that?
It does not count as a work experience because I don't know, because it's a kind of a fellowship. It's not a system. It's
Right,
not a job. But uh, in my opinion, you are a full time committed fellow to a particular objective.
right,
So I consider it as a full time because it's a very rigorous fellowship,
right.
whether it's
Makes
Teach
sense.
for India or Gandhi Fellowship.
Yeah,
You are completely, how do I say, committed to solving that particular problem that is given to you for 2 years. For Teach for India, you become a teacher, or you become a teacher for 2 years. You're teaching in that particular classroom, so you're responsible for like 20 kids in your classroom.
right,
Unka grade should move from A to B, right? If it doesn't move, it you are also contributing to that failure.
right.
So the accountability is high, the stakes are high, and yeah, so I really consider it as a very rigorous, intense fellowship.
Perfect.
Even in one thing that I would like to highlight as a process in Gandhi Fellowship.
Mm.
So Gandhi Fellowship has a lot of processes. For a month you become a teacher, it's a classroom immersion. For a month you are in a village, understanding what are the realities on ground, which is community immersion. It is like
Right,
how you go on ground and understand what are the challenges. You live there.
right,
And then there is field immersion where you're just interacting with the parents every day on how are they feeling about the education system, what are the other challenges that the school children are not able to come to school. So
right,
you know that, for example, if it's education, you know that education, the problem is not in isolation.
right,
It is a problem that is connected to all other problems. If the parents are not earning, or the livelihood opportunities are rare, uh, then they would not want their kids to go to school. They would just be like, okay, just start working with me. How does it matter whether you study or not? you're
right,
gonna you're gonna be in the same village, right? So if the
right,
parents are not well aware of what's happening around, the opportunities that the child can get, right? So it
right,
drives that, okay, child will not be able to go to school. That is how midday meal came into existence. That, okay, we'll just send our children for free food, right? कि okay,
right.
at least खाना तो मिल जाएगा.
Uh-huh.
So you know that it's not, nothing is happening in isolation. If you're just solving an
Right,
education, you know it's very well connected to women empowerment, livelihood, how the village is doing, or the social stigma around that whole situation.
makes sense. Perfect. Siddhant, any questions left from your side? I think I'm done from my side.
I think I'm done as well.
Okay, perfect. Okay, this was like fairly awkward because we had to do the rerun of more
No,
time.
no, no worries. I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah,
But that's completely okay. I hope I was able to do justice to this one.
no,
Uh,
absolutely. Thank you
and
so much, Afreen,
no
for taking
problem.
your time on
Really
the
sorry
weekend.
for postponing it. I last
No, no
moment,
No, no,
worries.
no,
Siddhant.
it's okay. No, no,
Yeah,
it's
I
okay.
didn't mean to, but yeah.
Okay, again, thank you so much, Afreen, for
Thank you.
taking
Have a
the
good
time.
day. All the best. Bye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. I hope you learned something. We will do more of these as we find more people who will let us annoy them. And thank you for watching Scholars Weekly. You can download Good Lives as well from the description, and you can follow us on LinkedIn and on Instagram. You can follow the podcast. You can give it 5 stars. And again, thank you for watching. We'll see you guys on the next one.